Hey guys. Okay, so I thought I'd kind of round out the whole changes theme that I've been rocking in recent weeks by answering the question that inevitably comes up, which is why? Why so many changes? Short answer is COVID. COVID completely changed the planning game overnight. And I'd suggest it probably changed things for three key reasons. First and foremost, everyone became homebodies instantly. So instead of going off traveling the world, spending their money on overseas holidays, people refocused that spending money on their homes. We saw possibly the biggest renovation boom that I will ever see in my planning career. It went absolutely ridiculous. Now, naturally, if you're spending a bucket load of money on something, you want to protect that something. You want to make sure that other external things don't damage that something. It's inevitable. And then also working from home, people were spending a lot more time at home. They had a lot more time to observe what was going on around them and what was potentially impacting on them. Next, control. We as humans, inevitably, when we start to lose control in one aspect of our life, we naturally try to seek control in another aspect of our lives. And my mum was the best example of this. So she has a gardening business, which naturally also saw a massive boom during COVID. So when COVID first hit, she just saw this crazy increase in inquiries and all that sort of stuff. And she didn't know quite how to manage that increase. It was a little bit cray-cray out there. So there's a couple of times where I came home to find her actually weeding my garden. And I was like, oh my goodness, Mum, like my garden, it's nothing. Like I don't care about gardens. It could be overgrown, couldn't give a damn. But for her, she couldn't work out how to control this, but she knew how to weed. So she knew at the end of each day, she could go home and just be like, yep, okay, I've cleaned up that mess. I can't control this mess, but I can control this mess. So same sort of thing when it comes to our houses and all of that sort of stuff. People felt like the world was out of control. Their external environment was losing it, but they could focus on controlling their home environment. That's something they could actually control. So yeah, people took more interest in managing what was happening around them at the home point. Then last but not least, tech increases. So everyone instantly overnight was on a steep learning curve when it came to technology. People who previously would have called themselves tech dinosaurs suddenly were forced to use Zoom and all of that sort of stuff. And it gave them a confidence boost. They went, hold on a sec, that wasn't so hard. Maybe I can start to learn how to use Development I, and maybe I can start to learn how to sign up for planning alerts and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, as a result, those three different factors came together and they created like the perfect storm of redonkulousness. Redonkulousness, technical term. So we saw a redonk step up in the number of people being involved in projects. And it's not necessarily at the planning stage, more so it's during construction stage. I'd probably suggest 75% of my jobs at the moment, I'm hearing stories back from the builder or the homeowner to suggest, yep, we're having big issues with the neighbours. So yeah, neighbours are a lot more involved than they were previously, but also redonkulousness in terms of the intensity and the ways that people are interacting on jobs. So I've got two examples that spring to mind. First and foremost, we recently lodged a very complex job. Now this is one of those ones where I'd go, community input is definitely warranted. It's a very complex project. But I wasn't expecting community involvement before we'd even paid the fee quote. Like we literally lodged this job, and before we had a chance to get the fee quote and pay it, we had like something like 10 different submissions. It was crazy. Like I knew we'd get submissions. I just thought it would come during the public notification stage, not this early in the game. So it's a very clear sign that people were signed up for those planning alerts and they were ready to take action. Or another example, so we got the DA, and then during construction phase, which went over, say, a year period, I heard a story that apparently the neighbour has lodged 300 objections to this client. So they've gone into council and they've complained about things like, oh, that dirt pile in the backyard, it's too big, or their grass is looking too overgrown. Any small little thing they can jump on, they are jumping on. So yeah, those three factors I mentioned previously are leading to a redonkulous, I love that word, so I'm just going to keep saying it, change or shift in the way that neighbours are getting involved in jobs. So what do we need to do about it? Well, I personally believe that the old school planning methodology or thought process of what they don't know doesn't hurt them doesn't work now. Like the game has completely changed and we need to shift the way that we do things here. So I personally was doing a project last year and I used that as an opportunity to kind of test the waters, so to speak, to change the way that we approach things. So I was like, okay, clearly what we've done before was not working. My neck's on the line here, so I can experiment a little bit more. I'm not putting clients' necks on the line, so to speak. Let's try and do things a bit differently. So what I did is I actually reached out to the neighbours via a letterbox drop and just said, hey, look, would love the opportunity to catch up with you guys. Firstly, to introduce myself, to explain what I'm planning to do, but then most importantly, to hear what concerns you may have so that I can try and incorporate them going forward. And it's actually funny, turned up, and naturally, in hindsight, I totally understand why this was the case, but I probably didn't anticipate it so much. I turned up, everyone had their defenses up. They were like, who is this youngish thing that's coming on in here? What's she going to do? She's going to do like 10-story units or something like that, which in hindsight actually probably worked to my advantage because their expectations were way over here. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do this little thing like here. So yeah, I had the opportunity to sit down and go, this is who I am. I'm actually going to see this as, it's not a flipper project, it's my forever home. I hate that term, but forever home. I'm actually a character nut, so I'm going to do everything within my power to preserve as much of the original structure, blah, 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 blah. So I got to give them insight as to who I was, and then I went, okay, what are your concerns? Before I start pulling this design together and I start creating the plans, what are you actually worried about? Now, I was genuinely surprised by some of the concerns that came up. There were things that I didn't expect. So for example, one of my neighbours, she turned around and said, look, I've got 2 small puppies or dogs, and I'm concerned that during construction, the fencing might come down and they might escape. And I was like, respect, like I totally understand where you would be coming from with those concerns, and that is super easy for me to address. I just got to have a chat with the builder and make sure we prioritize keeping fencing up, etc., etc. Had a chat to a different neighbor and they're like, yeah, that massive tree in your backyard, I'm actually worried it's going to fall on our house. And I was like, sweet, let's look at removing it. I mean, I want to put a pool back there anyway, so easy solution. Yeah, then went and had a chat to the other neighbour, and the other neighbour's like, yeah, that tree in the backyard shades me from the western sun, love it, please don't touch that tree. And I was like, oh, okay, I've got a problem here. But anyway, point is, I went and listened to their concerns. People as humans, we want to feel heard. So first and foremost, you want to give everyone that opportunity to feel heard, but then you want to take those concerns and see if you can incorporate and address them. So like I said, construction fencing, easy fix. Tree, not so easy fix. If you can't easily accommodate their concerns, then come up with an alternative solution. So I went back to that second neighbour and went, yeah, the tree, look, I was going to try and help you, but for this reason I can't, and I totally respect that third neighbour, the reason why they want to preserve it, if I was in their shoes. And that's a good point. Put yourself in your neighbour's shoes. Like, put yourself in their property and ask yourself, how would I feel if someone was planning to do work next door that would impact on me? So anyway, put myself in their shoes, can understand where they're coming from. So, got another idea. How about we get a arborist out to give the tree a little bit of a spruce up, like a little bit of a haircut, make it look prettier. So basically, in simple terms, remove some of the dead branches that you're concerned about and give you the reassurance that it's a healthy tree, it's not going to fall down, all of that sort of stuff. Now, another example is we're planning to go backwards or extend backwards with the house. Designed it to stay fully within the QDC requirements because I wanted to make sure I didn't have any issues there. But naturally, the neighbour's looking at it going, well, you're coming closer to me. So I sat there and went, look, this is what we could do as an alternative. We could go even higher, we could go even bigger, etc., etc. But I've designed it to come back in here to do this for this reason and this reason. I know you're naturally going to sit there and go, I still don't like it. But what I can do as a trade-off is I will put new fencing in at my expense. I'll put some extra landscape screening, trees in, all of that sort of stuff. So you see less of us over the fence, etc., etc. So yeah, try to come up with a alternative solution that can address their concerns in a different way. If you can't address their concerns, then just explain why you can't, be brutally honest with them, and hopefully that is enough. So then from there, keep everyone informed throughout the construction or throughout the whole process. So for me, once we got to the town planning stage, or no, going back a step, once we had the plans, I ran it back past them and said, hey guys, do you have any additional concerns, or is there anything that's come up in the time since that you've been pondering this? Let me know, etc., etc. But then I kept everyone informed throughout the process. So once we got town planning approval, I was like, yeah, celebration time, we've made this milestone. Next milestone is going to be the documentation stage, expecting we'll hit it at this many months' time or at this point. I'll update you when we know more type thing. Get to the next stage, again, update them, so on and so forth. So keep everyone up to date as to what's happening and where things are going from there. Final point that I wanted to make is giving everyone a communication channel. So I reached out to them and said, here's all of my contact details, text, call, email, Facebook, Instagram, do whatever you want. Reach out to me if you have any concerns. I want to hear about them. I genuinely want you to come to me with those concerns so I can try and work with you guys. And then I've said to him, basically, once construction starts, or once we lock in the builder, more to the point, I will share the builder's details with you. Because if issues come up during construction, I want you to go directly to either myself or the builder so we can address them up front. I don't want people sitting there stewing on these issues and having them bubble away and get bigger and bigger and bigger than they actually need to be. Now, for me personally, so far, I haven't completed the project, so I can't sit here and say it's an absolute success, but so far, it's working really, really well. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting there partying with the neighbours on the weekend yet, we're not best buddies, but everyone seems to be on really good terms, everyone respects where they're coming from, everyone appreciates the community consultation that I've done. And I hate that word community consultation because it makes it feel so forced and fake. But yeah, the consultation process that we've gone through. So that kind of let me going, okay, hold on a sec. We know that the game that we used to play, which is what they don't know won't hurt them, doesn't work anymore. We know that everyone is suddenly more interested in what's happening on their neighbours' properties, how it's going to impact on them. They're more empowered to have their say. They know how to have their say. And it's leading to a lot of vexatious complaints and issues. And actually, that's a point I should make. Everyone naturally goes, oh, I cannot be bothered. Like everything you're talking about, that is a lot of work. Yes, sure, it's a lot of work, but the alternative is a lot more work. So we are seeing so many situations where vexatious complaints are being lodged, which is taking a bucket load of time. It's requiring a bucket load of money to address. It's leading to a bucket load of stress and emotional pressure and all that sort of stuff. Like the alternative is so much worse. And yes, people will inevitably say, oh, but you might capture some people and draw attention to some people that you previously would not have drawn attention to or may not have known about. Yeah, sure, that 1 in 50 may get caught that previously wouldn't have been caught, but it's the other 49 you got to worry about. So yeah, what was I saying? Point is, old way didn't work. So we've got to change the way we're doing things. I tested this option on my own property. So far it's working really well. So I'm encouraging all clients out there to do the exact same thing. Reach out to the neighbours, listen, explain what you plan to do, listen to their concerns, try to adopt or address their concerns. If you can't, come up with alternatives. If you can't, explain to them why. Keep the communication channels open, keep them updated throughout the process, and hopefully that works. Because yeah, this whole neighbour stuff is causing us a lot of grief at the moment. Okay, I think that covers off everything I want to talk about today. As I always say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got 3. Number 1, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site specific. You would be a silly Billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly Billy. Number 2, Brisbane town planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number 3, what was my number 3? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all.